Hello and welcome to the Slapshot Syndicate podcast. Be sure to subscribe for more content, and whilst you're at it, go and follow our social media pages. They're on screen now. Now, on to the episode.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Slapshot Syndicate. Another game week and more tide changes, more goals, more fights, more everything. I mean, it's a pretty unpredictable week this weekend, wasn't it, really? And it's been a tough one for us to call.
Yeah, definitely. We had a conversation, didn't we, about some of the fixtures we predicted and how we feel none of them have really gone our way this week. But when you look at the table, it has been a very interesting week. So there's been some chopping and changing.
Nice to see some 4-point weekends as well for a few teams this week, which obviously we'll get into a little bit later on. One of which obviously we hold a little bit more dearer than others. But yeah, very, very exciting week as it always is in the National League, isn't it, boys?
Yeah,
nothing to complain about.
Yeah, exactly that. Nothing to complain about. Teams doing things that they shouldn't be doing or not expected to do. You know, and as you mentioned there, the table's slightly changed again from the past week. So we'll leave it at that. We'll jump into more detail now. Seahawks reaction. So, fellas, the fixtures this weekend was a bit of a tough one for the Seahawks as we'd looked previously. Away on the Saturday to Telford Tigers and at home versus the Leeds Knights, two teams that we, really didn't want to be playing at this current moment, both on a bit of a decent run. Telford have sloped off a little bit, but we'll jump straight into that Telford game. So the Saturday, Seahawks coming away with this one 5-1. Big road win once again.
Yeah, massive win. I think we can hand on heart say we wasn't probably 100% confident going into this game, just because, like you said, the form Telford have been on and how they seem to have had their ring lockdown this season, and with our away form, it didn't feel like one we could have gone in and certainly won at this score, but
convincingly as well.
Yeah, very, very convincingly. Brock Bartholomew's first game for the Seahawks back, 3 assists on the night.
Yeah.
So he's had an absolute blinder there, and yeah, they've really cemented themselves in that game, and by the looks of it, taken control of it early on and just capitalised on it in the second, which I suppose in recent, this season has been our downfall. We seem to have had a bit of a lull within that second period and invited some of the pressure on, whereas in this we've done exactly the opposite. We've got the control and we've just sort of made it unachievable for Telford quite early on.
Yeah, so with you mentioning there, Brock being back, first game, it is also worth noting, obviously Seahawks with their 5 imports at the minute had to have one sat out, and that was Emil Svek on Saturday. Initially, what was your thoughts about that then when you saw the lineup and you thought Svek, our top point scorer currently at this point in the season, out? What did you think?
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it, with the 5 imports, because when you've got players of this calibre and someone has to sit out each game, you never want to take it as like, okay, well, the first person to sit out is the person that's essentially going to be on the chopping block.
Yeah.
I think it is just a case of giving everybody an equal chance, and we'll come into the Sunday fixture where obviously another one was sat, and as the import that's been sort of told you're not going to play that game, maybe those sort of demons start creeping in and you think, is this the start at the end potentially? But no, I don't think it is. I think it's just a case of rotating them for a while, seeing what works and what doesn't, and then just taking it from there. No major concerns from me.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I think it's really good that we've gone to Telford without our top point scorer and still walked away with a 5-1 win. I mean, what does that tell you? It's not a whole case of, Svek's the top boy, we're relying on him heavily. No, you can have a sit out, he can rest up, and we still come with a big win. So it's good to see that, isn't it, really? And it could have easily gone the other way where we could have needed Svek or we could have lost this game, obviously, and things would have been pointed, but it's worked, which is a real positive for us.
I think the sort of aim for Matty during the off season this year as well around the imports was to try and the team in general was to try and make it so we weren't as reliant on our top line. And that's definitely happened, hasn't it? Johnny Cornell and Jordy Stallard have come into their own. Hewitt's playing top line with those two at the moment, playing really, really well. And if not, they're interchanging with a second. We've got points all the way through the lines, as evident on this night. And yeah, it's really nice to sort of see us. I almost want to call back to what you said the other week, as where you said that you wanted to see like the Seahawks then go ahead and then be ruthless and get those goals in the second period instead of having that sort of grey period, and they've done that in this game, haven't they? It's been fantastic to see, and like you say, without Emmy as well. So I think that's fantastic, and I think it'll be great for Brock to get those first 3 points on the board in his first game. I'm sure he'll be a very, very happy man on the way home.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like for us as fans as well, like having 5 imports actually great for us because you've got that extra leverage. We just don't know how sustainable it is long term to keep that on. I mean, if it stays this way and Matty decides actually this seems to be working for us, so we're going to take the hit as the club and we're going to keep it going, then I'd be more than happy with that as well. I just, like I say, don't know how sustainable it is, but I do think with the calibre of imports we've got, you can sit one of them out at any given night and still come away with decent results. And if you do chop and change, I don't think you're going to see anything drastically fall off.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, no concerns from me there.
No, I completely agree. I think the 5 imports benefits both the imports and the team as a whole. Like you say, you might get a bit of complacency or some people who are not performing to standard, which is what they've said at the start of the season. People went up to scratch, and seeing another guy come in suddenly just, I could be on a chopping block here, or I'm going to get less ice time. You can just ignite a bit of fire and find a bit of form in your other imports. And plus, when you see the rest of the other British guys, wow, I've got another import in here, another great guy to add to the team.
Yeah.
And you can only project things are going to go up and onwards, aren't you, really? So I think it's only a good thing for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at the actual game itself, Telford only managed to get a goal in the last period, 51 minutes in, and that was a power play goal. So defensively we've obviously been very solid, and Jordan again has had another worldie. Matty said in his interview last night about there being a clear number 1, and that's Jordy at the minute, and I don't think you can begrudge that at all.
No, absolutely not.
Put in standout performance after standout performance, and even the games we haven't won, he's been at the top of the list for man of the match and stuff most of the night. So I think from that perspective, both defensively, from a netminder point of view, you just have to give him the credit there, and just Dima's probably this. Thinking fair enough at the minute, and whilst he's playing like that, let's keep the train moving.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had a look at the stats for the goaltenders, and currently Geordie sits 4th in the league, which is mega, in it, really. I mean, when you're looking last season, both our goaltenders were near the bottom of that table, which was a big frustration for us, and you could probably point that to why we was suffering quite a lot. But now to have that reverse, where we're one of the better goalkeepers in the league, and it is actually starting to show. We look better defensively, and we're not having to sort of outgun and outscore an opposition, which you don't want to be doing, because that's where you're going to start gassing yourself as the season goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you commented on this just before we started recording, the fact that Telford on the night had 35 shots on goal and Seahawks had 26 shots on goal, so the scoreline really does tell a story there, doesn't it? Well, from a netminder point of view, and forwards as well, who seem to have got most of the goals. And I just wanted to obviously again mention Bartholomew coming in with 3 points on his opening game from D, getting those assists is massive for us. So hats off to him. I can't wait to see once I had a bit of time to settle in and get on the ice and get a bit of match fitness again, how he's going to perform this season, because there's been a question mark over the standard of the league's raised in general. How is he going to fare from back in 2023 when he was here, and clearly no problems. So.
Before we move on to Sunday's game, then I just want to have a little word on Telford and their current form. What do you guys think to this at the moment, then? Because they've just sort of thrown away a couple of games, maybe just fallen off a little bit.
Very jittery at the minute, aren't they? Like we said last week, and I think again I'm quoting you said that this Telford game, and we all agreed, didn't we? This is one where you needed to get. You said it's like Marine style: get in, get the point, get out. But that was nowhere to be seen in this game. Obviously they put a few more shots up than us, but just not a sign of the usual selves. It's really disappointing, really. There's somebody who regularly messages our page about Telford, and she mentioned about. She said there was only maybe 2 or 3 players that was actually noteworthy of in the Telford side to sort of say they've played well. They have lost Caleb McPhee, which is a big loss defensively. So obviously you've got to give that sort of shout out. But one player doesn't change a decor, unfortunately. And it's just in one sense it's a shame for Telford, because it was quite refreshing seeing a new side climbing up the league, sort of competing, putting loads of goals past people, making the jungle a real place that people wanted to go, and exciting hockey was being played there. But on the flip side, for the teams round them, you know, they'll be buzzing with this, like especially Seahawks. You know, they'll want to be getting these points off the teams that are above them, won't they? So. But yeah, it's disappointing for Telford. Really disappointing, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, you don't want to assume there's a ulterior narrative being written at the moment, and what's going on inside the club, because we just don't know. But from the outside looking in, it just looks like it's a little bit of a lull, just a little bit of a struggle. You say maybe that's just picking up injuries.
Yeah.
They've been on this upward trajectory for a fair bit now. At some point, that's going to take its toll, and you need to try and find a way to get back to that and on top. The only benefit for them is they've been there now, so they know what's expected of them to get back to it.
Yeah.
So perhaps we'll see that again coming over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's a crisis at all. I wouldn't turn and say Telford are in a crisis. I mean, not to sound too harsh, I still think they're sort of overachieving. You know, like at the beginning of the season, after last season, you wouldn't have ever expected them to be where they are now, but they have just sort of slipped off a little bit and not been as dominant, have they, especially in front of goal.
We said that the other week as well, didn't we? Like, for Telford, every game they're just playing in front of them. If they win, it's great. Like, they won't be saying, like, right, we've got Leeds, MK and Swindon here, we need to get 4 points from those, and like that's not going to be their style. They're just going to be, let's just play everything in front of us, and so far it's worked for them, despite that, you know, a little dip at the moment. So I don't think they'll be, you know, pressing the alarm for a crisis or anything like that.
Absolutely not. So we'll move into Sunday's game then, fellas. Home game for Hull Seahawks against the Leeds Knights. Obviously, whenever this usually happens, it's usually fiery, tense, and we always get some sort of decent spectacle, don't we? And I think it delivered again, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I was bang up for this when we seen it on the fixture list. It was we went to Leeds last game, didn't we? And to be honest with you, we were so subpar in that game that we needed to right a wrong in this game, and yeah, that we did, didn't we? It was a very, very different game at the moment.
But a very poor start there, worth noting. You know, 2-0 down in 5 minutes. Yeah, I think we was all like, why do we look so disjointed, you know, after beating Telford the night before, and we couldn't seem to control the puck, we couldn't get passes right, you know, not to put a blame game, but I think the first goal was down to Brock
Brock lost it, didn't he?
Lost the puck right in front of the goal, and I think it was Brownie squared it to bits, and he slapped it in, it was like, oh, alright then, great, and then, you know, within another minute and a half afterwards, they've scored the second one, you think, oh no, what's happening here?
Yeah, I think the important thing from that was to try and bounce back early, wasn't it? So they scored their second at 4 minutes 24 in. We come in with our first at 5 minutes 47. So not long afterwards at all did we manage to get one back, and that's all we needed. We didn't need to just control the game at that point. We just needed to give ourselves an opportunity.
Going just stay within the one goal, stay in the game.
The next period, because each period in hockey sort of tells a different story, doesn't it? A lot of the time. So
absolutely.
We managed to get that through Josh Hodgkinson, which was a cracking shot.
Nice little like blue line, wasn't it? Just off blue line,
he's becoming quite good for it, or like handy for those kinds of points, and he's like putting up goals and assists and stuff quite a lot. Hodges, he's really growing into that I want to say senior role of like, I'm going to lead the decor. Like obviously with Brock's absence, we needed someone to stand up. He fights, he's scoring goals, he's scoring points, he defends really well. Like you said, didn't you, in the first period, especially last night, as he was really impressed with Hodge in his defence.
I thought he had a great game. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, getting the goal was one thing, but like he seemed to read and jump on a lot of players. He was nice and aggressive, finishing his hits, and you could just see he was always there when he needed to be. I think there was a few times where they tried to counter on us and was 2-on-1, and he'd just come from nowhere and come across the front of the Leeds like forward, and you just like, how's he got there? How's he brought that play up? And then he'd then calmly move it on to somebody and would get out, and you just like, that's class. That's what you want to see. Just there's no like panic stations of, oh, I've got you now, I just need to dump it out and risk an icing. It's not, it was composed defending, I think it was really good.
And like you say, like in games like this where it's already feisty, finishing your hits is a massive thing, because it's going to start taking its toll. So if you don't fight fire with fire and start finishing your hits, it can very soon change, can't it, where they start bullying you essentially, and we weren't having any of that last night, which brought us into a very, very feisty first period, because there was some issues, weren't they, at Leeds with Ethan Hare, and it seemed to be that he was a bit of a target man for Leeds.
He was getting a lot.
He was taking a lot of stuff, so that seemed to be trying to boil over a little bit last night, and we shut this down relatively quickly and through Bobby Chamberlain.
I remember seeing it as it happened. So like the puck was near like the boards, and then Bobby had sort of come to skate centre to like open himself some space, and Cooper just looked at him. He wasn't looking at the puck, and was just starting to like push him, and you can see him yapping. And then all of a sudden, Bobby must have just thought, "You know what? You're doing my head, didn't you, mate?"
Yeah.
And then just started giving him it, and then it just erupted, didn't it? And it was some tilt, wasn't it?
Yeah,
remember
it was.
boys, Cooper won.
Oh God!
I was gonna get into this. So before we talk about obviously the fight, there has been a lot of comments on the forums and social media about how this fight and how it's not a good look for what happened and this, that, and the other. And how Cooper won. And I know it's easy for us to be like, oh yeah, Bobby won because we're Seahawks fans, but anybody watching it can see the full.
There's multiple angles of the video.
I don't know if people was actually joking on these forums when they was putting the comments on, because I thought like it can't be that one-sided for you when you actually see the footage, and Cooper was just trying to get Bobby down.
You can see he put his leg behind him, didn't he, and tried to tilt him over, just like wrestle him over, and Bobby sort of stepped over it and was like, I don't think so.
We're not finished yet. Well, we're going to have a good go before we get to that point. Yeah, so absolutely no question in my mind who won that fight.
To be fair, sorry to interrupt you there. To be fair, to stand up to Bobby and give him it, just injured or not, you've got to have stones, haven't you? So fair play to the Cooper for getting involved with it.
Not even to his discredit, is it? No. Because they're probably doing him an injustice by saying he won the fight. He probably knows he didn't win the fight.
Yeah. But he had to go.
But he had to go. So.
But Chambo's probably one of the last people in ice hockey in this league that I'd be wanting to rile up and really have a go with. So fair play to him on that, because he really turned the momentum of the game, didn't he, boys?
Oh, that's exactly what I was going to come into there. Like, albeit we all love a bit of a fight in hockey, but the key thing is to use it as a tool, use it as a weapon to get the game on track, and that's exactly what it did for us.
I'm glad you said this, because I was going to bring up the point of the weekend before when we was at MK, and I think it was even here that night who got splattered on the boards, didn't he? And they got a major penalty, 5 minutes, and then we went on. We went and capitalised on the game, and it's nice for us not to get drawn into that sort of bad behaviour, and then it cost us back-to-back weeks now. We've dealt with the business, sorted out, and then capitalised and taken the momentum.
Done it the right way, haven't they, as well? They've not been sucked into stupid penalties and calls and tripping and trying to just drag someone down because I've got the better of you there. Like, good teams will poke the bear and then just take penalties and take penalties and take penalties. And from my perspective last night, I definitely feel that Leeds was trying to poke the bear with us. We just came out and did it the right way. Bobby settled it the right way, and the one chiming on. There weren't loads of penalties, was there? It was. I think you mentioned, didn't you, Brad? Like the referees just sort of let them. What was the term that you used?
They just let
police it themselves, which was nice to see.
Yeah. Let them police it themselves, which I think you need in these games. If you call in everything that it's stop start, you've got 5 players in the box in a period, and it's just. No one wants that. Like, let it run its course. If it's going to erupt and there's going to be a fight, sort of let it to a degree.
It needs to be a bit like playoff hockey, doesn't it, really?
Yeah.
Just let it be hard hitting, but as long as it's fair.
You only need to call stuff like that's like blatant. And
I mean, that's where, for me, like, referees maybe need to pop into the change rooms in between period breaks and was just like, do you know what, we could have called you for that. Knock it on the ice. We're allowed to let stuff go. Instead of, like, doing it on the ice and making examples out of people, go have a word during the break and say, like, lads, you know what, that was getting on the line of when we need to start calling penalties. Rein it in a bit. Continue as you are.
On both
love the intensity. But just rein it in a bit, otherwise we're going to have to start handing out penalties. And I think that's what needs to happen, so just stopping the game and disrupting the flow.
To be fair, other than dropping the puck last night, the referees were actually quite good.
Them restarts, that was a joke, the puck drops. Jeez.
To be fair, I think all 3 of the refs did do like a good job last night. Even offsides and stuff. Like, I think it was pretty spot on. The game flowed real nicely, I think, and it was a real good watch for even for a neutral. It was good.
So obviously that ended the first period there. After that big tilt, it sort of changed momentum. Second period starts, and there wasn't a goal in the second period, but the momentum had shifted. It was very much Seahawks, and I think I said to you guys afterwards that period, like, we've outshot them and controlled that. And then, but you could almost see it as the period went on. They was going to get that one chance and potentially go score on the break, but it was all us.
Very frustrating period was the second, because nothing would go for us. To Sam Gospel's credit, though, like, he was phenomenal all night. Some of the saves he made were completely unjust towards us that he had no
additionally
right.
to that is what you were saying about their PK as well. Because
Yes,
we had our power plays and they just literally formed themselves up and we were just like, come on then. And we just couldn't break it down, could we? So
it was like they just moved in a 4 around wherever the puck was. We're just going to shift it. Like there was no. You said there was no passing lanes at all. Was there?
Nothing.
You could see the Seahawks being like, where are we? And they was moving it nice and stuff like that. But whenever there was a shot, it was just 1 or 2 players in front of it. It just wasn't happening. It was like, wow, these guys are so drilled.
There was great, and then like to your point there, but Gozzy going from the second to third period, and he seemed to get better somehow. And I don't know how. I mean, especially we'll come to the third period about one of those saves where I was literally jaw on the floor. But
you said that to him as well. Didn't you?
I did. I just fair play, and I said that to him when we interviewed him. Like, I think my comment to him was like, he doesn't have a highlight reel because he sees the game before he needs to do something drastic. He was a bit like, I've never really been told that.
True.
Yeah.
But he was made into some really big saves, one of like highlight reel saves, and it was just, you saw the best of him, and you just think like, that goalie's going to win titles for a team. You just watch him once and you just go, he's
any
he's
team that's got him in the net has already got a chance to win the whole thing. So massive credit to him. I also want to give a big credit to Emil Svek though on Seahawks. Obviously, Jordan Stallard missed out this night, so he was the import that got sat. But Svek was absolutely all over the ice last night. He was up and down. He was in the crease. He was taking shots. It just didn't seem to fall for him. But it wasn't for the want of trying, and the effort was there. And he did manage to get an assist.
Some assists by the way as well. That pass across the ice for Bobby.
Yeah. I think my point about Svek, and I'm glad you've mentioned him there. I think we was on the power play, and they'd got a stick and broke away.
That's right.
And Svek was the only one to sort of get back. And I know he's been a bit thingy for his defensive work and getting back, but he motored back, didn't he? And got his stick in there to stop a potential shorthand opportunity.
That was 2-1 to Leeds as well.
He just motored, got back, and you was just like, you know what, that is quality from any of that. You saw a real good work ethic from there and broke it up.
It almost seemed like a message received to him, didn't it? Okay, I'm going to be the first one to sit, and that might have just been a rotational thing. It might have been like a, come on Emmy, I need you to pull your pants up now kind of thing and crack on. But he was just all over one day, and you could see it in his face all night. He was just desperate for a goal. He wears his heart on his sleeve, Svek, and that's one of the things that we love about him the most. Because when it goes right, it really means a lot to him. It's not like he don't give a what. Like he's here to play hockey because he wants to win and he wants to bring silverware home to Hull, and he's exactly the kind of player that you want on your team.
I was really gutted for him last night because he seemed upset with his performance, but from a fan perspective, he had nothing to be upset about. No. Just because he wasn't, he didn't have a hat trick on the night. He absolutely had a fantastic game. So sometimes you've got to do that dirty work and realise you can still come away and you've played a massively important part.
I think there is a lot of pressure on Svek because I think he holds himself to a really high standard, so when he isn't scoring, he sort of kicks himself.
Yeah.
But I think the sort of relationship he's got with the fans, and he loves his name being sung out and stuff like that, and he obviously doesn't feel like the fans are going to sing for him if he isn't putting the puck in the back of the net.
Yeah.
But people will always love you for effort. Assists and goals will come. You know what I mean? That's why Cornel and stuff are loved. You don't always think, they're the main man for points, but they'll do their hard work and the hitting, and they're still loved exactly the same.
Yeah, he's been up against a lot of criticism over the last few seasons. First of all, it was all he's got is a slap shot. Next thing was he can't defend, and now in the last season and start of this season, his game's changed so much where he's become this well-rounded player, but with that sometimes does come the fact that you can't just put up 5-6 points a game. So
if you're getting baback into your own crease and doing the day
you've got to do the gritty stuff as well, and he's doing that. So I think if Emmy's watching, to be fair, you had a blander of a game there. You deserve some credit for it. So take it.
We'll get into the third period then, lads. Obviously, this is the period that really changed the game. So again, it started very much with Seahawks on the front foot. Leeds trying to get their opportunities where they could as well, but it just seemed like it wasn't going to be our night to score goals. There was no proper grade A chances. Gospel was saving things he had no right to save, but eventually we finally broke. I think it was off a face-off on it, which had dropped back, played forward, and then just shimmered across the face of goal and slapped into the back of the net, which I haven't done it any justice by saying how it played out, but it was a big moment.
Watch the highlights.
Yeah. I mean, the place erupted as well. It was just one of those nights where you're just like, oh, come on, is it actually going to happen for us?
Yeah.
And when that puck finally hit the back of the net.
And very deserving person to score that goal as well.
Yeah.
Chamber, because he deserved something from that game, and you know he was the one that turned it on his head. So for him to come away with that goal, and that was the real momentum shift there, and then just following on from that, not long after,
27 seconds later.
27 seconds later, another Hull legend, Jason Hewitt, comes up and secures the lead for us.
It is his city though, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah. There was actually on Saturday night he gave one of the Hull fans' kid a warm-up puck, and I messaged him and I put something like, "Not all heroes wear capes, some of them run towns." I love it. You know what? He's scored the winner.
It was a great top shelf finish as well.
Quality.
Just came to him and just snapped it, and it flew by Gozzy. And do you know what? Once we got that second goal back and was at 2-2, I just thought like, right, now we're in the game. Let's sort of see where we're going to get. And then when that flew in, like say 27 seconds later, I was like, whoa! I mean, you just never thought it was going to come to it was that long to create the chance.
Yeah, first you're thinking a point, okay, we'll take it into overtime and see what happens, and then we get that. But I just wanted to point out, like, Hewitt and Bobby, they're both them players where they've got different games, but if you're part of the opposite side, you hate them. When they're on your team, you absolutely love them. You love them on your side, but hate them against you.
We've been both sides of that as well. When Bobby was at MK, Huey was at Sheffield, we hated him. Endicott's another player like that. When he's not on your team, you think, oh, look at him, arrogant, or giving it all this and stuff. If he's in your team there, he's scoring all these goals and fighting and stuff.
I love it.
He's one of there are those players, aren't they, in teams where you just think, oh, I hate them, but
they're a massive credit though to any club they go to, because to bring that, like, even if you feel like you're a bit of a target man on the ice, but you know you can hold your own, like, bring it on. Like, you're the ones that are going to get the penalties.
This is the weird thing, isn't it? So like, Endicott's got the most penalty minutes in the league so far, about 65 minutes, but then like, you know, put a 5-point night up on the Saturday night in Leeds games. So it's just like, how do you balance that when you've got a bit of housery about you? But then you're just like dropping 5 balls like it's nothing. It's mad, isn't it?
Someone was saying that about Bobby as well. They were saying he's like one of the last. He's one of the last of a dying breed of like old school hockey players who puts up points but also put up penalty minutes and stuff. And it's great to see, and maybe Ollie's got a bit about him like that as well.
Yeah.
So
love it.
We'll wrap up there then, fellas. Big 4 points for the Seahawks.
Massive.
I mean, you know, looking at that before, and if somebody said to me, you know, Seahawks are in for 4 points this week, and you'd have been like, what's happened there then? But to have done it and seen how we've played was unbelievable.
Matty said that we was going to be going through a difficult stretch, didn't he, a couple of weekends ago, and the boys have absolutely smashed it, haven't they?
Yeah, they're coming clutch for him, and I'll love to see it.
Yeah. Well, there we go then, fellas. We'll leave it there. We'll move on to looking at the rest of the league. So now let's look at the rest of the games for the weekend then, boys. As we mentioned, some really good results come out, some unpredictable ones. So we'll start straight away on the Friday, 14th of November. The Bristol Pitbulls hosted the Swindon Wildcats, Swindon taking it 3-1. Any surprise on this one?
Only surprise is that it won the highest scoring, I think, for me. I fully expected Swindon to come away with the result, but I just thought it might have been a little bit more emphatically, if I'm completely honest.
This was a bit of a repeat fixture from the other week, wasn't it? And another Southwest derby. They like to say the Southwest is X, Y, and Z, but the Southwest is very well and truly red at the moment. And Swindon are such a hard team to beat, and that they are where they are in the league now because of how they can just go home and away. There just never seems to be any doubt about them. Like when we do our predictor, we're never like
mad to go against them.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? But yeah, absolute credit to themselves, and it's not even like these good teams. They never really have like one individual player who's just smashing it, and Swindon are the same. It's not like Van de Maraka's just banging in goal, and if they lose him, then it's not. And I think actually that benefits them from last season where they relied quite a lot on Bricknell.
Yeah.
They're not having to do that anymore. They're so well rounded, and defence is solid in it. So yeah, that was class.
Yeah. And that was the only game for Friday, so we moved into Saturday, 15th of November. The first game, Leeds Knights hosted the Peterborough Phantoms. Leeds took it 6-2.
Yeah, very interesting game, this one. Obviously it was at the Castle, so yeah, you'd be hard pushed to bet against Leeds at their own ground. So I don't know what it is with Peterborough at the moment though. I don't know whether they're just struggling a little bit and they're not getting the results, but are probably playing alright.
Bit of a flip of a coin with them at the minute, and you sort of, oh, that's what we're getting tonight. There's nothing sort of.
It's that thing as well, you everybody goes on about playing at the Peterborough rink, like how difficult it is, and they know how to play that rink. But does that make it more difficult for them to go away and play?
When
Potentially,
you can't base yourselves off a reputation there, can you? You've got to go and do it as well. As harsh as that sounds to Peterborough, they're just not doing that at the moment. And I say this because it's not like they've got a real rubbish team and you expect him to get beat. Like Peterborough on the day can go and get points from anybody, and they have done already this season.
Yeah.
Just at the moment, if you was a Peterborough fan, you'd sort of be like trying to look at where the issue is because when you've got Hayden Levine, an absolute tower between your pipes, and people like Yanni and Luke Ferrara and Cam Huff and all those lads, you would be thinking like, well, where's it going wrong?
I personally, I'd want to shout out to one of our good friends, Nathan Salem. I think they've missed a bit of his know-how and a bit of his grit and determination. Yeah. Like when we saw him how he played in Coventry. He was unplayable, wasn't he? If that Salem was down there now, you'd expect a bit more grit out of him.
Second line centre, solid, just not even on the wing or whatever, but doing bits, all the time. And he is missed. He must be missed by them, but. Yeah. You can't take it away from Leeds. We mentioned it earlier on, didn't we, in Seahawks reaction, but Ollie Endicott with a 5-point night for them. He's done a few bits there, hasn't he? And it seems to have it'll be one that he definitely enjoyed.
What do you make of the scoreline to this one?
I didn't think Leeds would win 6-2. I thought it might have been a bit closer. Maybe I did. I can't remember what I predicted now.
All to be revealed.
All to be revealed.
I think I was close on this. I don't know why. There was something telling me I was close to getting this as it was.
It's hard, isn't it, when we do our predictions? You say what is in the moment, but then when I reflect on it, looking at it now, I always think like, if I predicted that, I don't know how I'd have done that. And so I'd expected it to be a bit closer. To be fair, maybe a goal or two in it, but not 4.
Move on to the next game. Basingstoke Bison hosted the Sheffield Steel Dogs.
I think we need to give a round of applause to this once you've done the score. Sorry to interrupt you there.
Basingstoke Bison 1-0 victors at this game.
Boys, shall we?
I mean, that is...
You said this. Do you remember at the end of the predictor last week, you was like, imagine if we just guessed a 1-0. 1-0, what a madness would be. And lo and behold,
we get one.
Bison go and do it against Sheffield, who were 6 unbeaten. I want to say 6 unbeaten before this game. Firing for fun. The Bison are really locking down their barn out there, and absolutely fair play.
Yeah, this would have either been a real good game to watch or just shocking. I don't think there was any in between.
Like, face value, it's all like...
1-0, is it?
Yeah, 60 minutes, 1 goal. You're like, there's got to be a little bit of something else in the game, hasn't there, to obviously warrant that scoreline. So.
Yeah, there is, but I think when you look at the bigger picture, like you say, free score in Sheffield, and they haven't managed to score, so you got to give big credit to obviously the Bison's D there. Yeah. Max Wright is still pulling up trees as he seems to do every week at the minute.
Yeah.
It's going good for him at the minute, and I really like it.
Yeah, they've got a real personality at the moment, haven't they, Bison? And I think that's key to some of their success. Likes a steady who wears his heart on the sleeve and gives it all every game. They need that, though. They need that sort of core.
But for me, it's a bit like, obviously, B struggled so much last season, and they never really looked catching the next teams up until real late in the season. But Solway and Bison are almost there with each other now, so it's like they're already there amongst the pack. So it's like, okay.
It's nice to see. It's nice for those boys who were suffering last year to sort of get that and have the team around them to be like, we can make a real good go at this. And fair play to the Bison for not laying down and being that team who will be like, well, we'll just finish last because it's our first season. We're still finding our feet. They're like, no. And Yeah, quality that. And you know what I love the most about the Bison? The videos when they're like coming off the ice and Moggy's always the first one. He's like, four in a row, baby! Woo! And stuff like that. It's like, how cool is that? It's I love to see it.
They're almost just like a group of lads that are just on like a party or something, aren't they? They're just going in there, and they get off, get in, get out, and they're loving it. Yeah. It's great to see. Moving on then, Milton Keynes hosting the Romford Raiders, MK 5-2 winners.
Oh yeah, must win game for this at MK. We talked last week, didn't we, about some of their fans, either leaving early or booing during like periods and stuff. And yeah, this is sort of definitely how they needed to kick off the weekend. So fair play to them. I don't know whether this is the start of them finding their identity again. I know they had a very difficult game on the Sunday, so I don't know if you'd read too much into that.
I think it's just big to get that W back in the column.
Especially in your home bar when you've got 2,000 people.
Just getting a win again, this is how we do it, boys. Let's restart. Like you said, I know they had a tough game the Sunday, but just getting one back in that win column is massively important when you're on a bit of a slump.
Yeah.
Moving on then, Solway Sharks hosting the Bristol Pitbulls. Pitbulls taking this one 5-4 in overtime, so very close.
I'd say an unexpected one for Pitbulls this as well. It's not easy to play on the Friday night as well.
Yeah.
And then have to travel down. I can imagine it was a very early start, bus up, and to get 2 points from the Shark Tank, which they've been notorious for getting points there, aren't they, Solway recently? Yeah. And I almost want to say as well, Solway were maybe 2 or 3 up in this game, which is a big shame for them because I think they would have fancied the win. I think I backed them to win quite heavily in this one, maybe like 5-1 or something. So for Bristol to come back and of course the pantomime villain to get it in overtime must have been a nice one for the Bristol fans. John Dunbar.
Yeah, I mean, of all people to come back and sink you as well, that's a madness. But
on the flip side as well, another point for Solway.
Yeah. I was just going to say, if you're going to lose any game, lose in OT.
Yeah.
Because
at least you're picking up points.
Of course, yeah, exactly. And obviously, I think that in one hand they'll be disappointed that they didn't grab 2, but if you're going to lose, you might as well lose in overtime or on a shootout because you're going to take a point home. And boys, tell me when the last Solway home game was that they didn't pick up a point.
Yeah.
I want to say every game this season they've either got 1 or 2 points at home. Maybe excluding one, which is massive, isn't it?
But since they've started to play at home, they've really turned the game around, haven't they? They're getting a lot more points now. I mean, I think it was last week where they turned up with like 14 players somewhere and still got a win. That might be in Romford or somewhere where they got a win. I might be wrong on that one, but they're now really starting to get themselves in a good place. Like when they was on the road every week at the beginning of the season, there was almost just going places and getting beat for a while, weren't they?
Yeah.
And then they got an odd one where they was getting close again. But now they're really starting to look at a team like, you don't know what you're going to get with Solway at the minute. They're either going to give you a big one, but they just can't get the 60 minutes over the line. You know what I mean? So it's interesting, and I'm glad they're starting to turn it around, and it's coming good for them, to be honest.
I'd love to see Solway get a few additions in. Just like to sort of steady him a little bit more. Like they are rocking up with 5 defensemen. Like for Gallus, who's just left us, like he'd go slip in there real nice when he was like solidify that third line or something like that. If they can get like maybe 2 or 3 more players on the books, maybe get that Mitchell King as well on a 2-way from Glasgow. That'd be massive, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So Bristol taking that one, but big positives for Solway in our opinion there. The last game on the Saturday, Telford Tigers hosting the Hull Seahawks, which we've already covered. 5-1 victors, Hull Seahawks. Big back-to-back away wins for Seahawks.
Game of the weekend, I think. Game of the Saturday night, that.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're moving into the Sunday fixtures, 16th of November. First game, Sheffield Steel Dogs 1, Telford Tigers 2. A 0-point weekend for Sheffield. Telford recovering on the road the next night after taking a bit of a beating from Hull Seahawks. So I know we was a bit, which one's this going to go? And Sheffield coming up with nothing all weekend.
Everyone below these teams needed a result like this, really, for across the weekend. And that's not to speak ill of any teams, but if you're going to try and catch the pack, you need to be maximising points of your own and hoping that other teams start dropping them.
Doing favours.
That's exactly what both of these teams have done. So a positive for everyone else in the league. But Telford, they obviously needed to bounce back from the Saturday night fixture, and I think a couple of their fans had come out and weren't best pleased with their performance at home on Saturday, so they did have a point to prove. Better to prove it against Sheffield, who are on fire, and I don't think anybody would have been surprised if Sheffield come away with this one 4-3 goals ahead. So.
Arguably, they were the form team coming into this weekend, So to go away and get that win, I don't know what's been said in the dressing room on that Saturday night, but yeah, an absolutely fair play to Telford for going and doing that. It's a huge win, isn't it?
Yeah, I also think it's worth noting that Sheffield only conceded 3 goals all weekend and still came away with nothing, which is a madness, isn't it? Like I say, along with that 1-0 loss to Basingstoke and then this 2-1.
It's almost a case of the commentator, because last weekend we were saying, well, if it's not Bjorkley Nordstrom, it's Genjanov, and it's not Genjanov, it's Sommer and Laren Melch, all your goals, they don't have to worry about goals, and then unfortunately that's not happening.
It's one of those, isn't it? Like we've said about Telford, they've had a bit of a hacksaw tooth sort of performance at the minute where it's up and down, and Sheffield have just happened to have had one of those weekends where it hasn't where it's like on any other night they could have beaten Basingstoke or whatnot there, and Telford after getting beat on the Saturday, it might not favour them. If Telford had won Saturday, it might have. It's easy to say the different narratives, but I think Sheffield they'll be disappointed, but I think the games were close. They didn't get hammered. I think that's the main thing. They're still massively in those games. It's just maybe one or two things need to be tweaked and looked at for them to get back on the win column. So moving on then, Romford Raiders hosted the Solway Sharks. Solway taking this one 6-4.
Yeah, I think this is more. We could talk about how Romford have been relatively good this season and picked up some decent points, but I think this is more to Solway's credit. They're playing very well at the moment, and Big Bolt's coming in clutch for this game. 3
assists in this one, 2 on the Saturday night. He's had a real good weekend, and there's a couple of people in here. Carter Ramo's got 3 assists on the night. Duncan Spears got 3 goals, a hat trick. There are some individual performances that was really good in this game, and as what you was mentioning about Romford earlier, that was this game they rocked up with 1 netman there. They had to borrow Max Van Mullen to back up for him in the net. Then I want to say they had 5 defencemen and maybe 3 lines. It was up
against it.
If they'd have come out with a loss on this game, there'd have been no scratch on them. They'd have been like, we was up against it, boys, we gave it our best, that's fine, but that's not the Solway way at the moment, and I love that for them. I think it's brilliant to show, and it's not like they've just popped down to Sheffield either, is it? That extra trip all the way down to Romford from Solway, absolutely fair play to them. I think
3-point weekend.
The 3rd in a row, so 9 points in 3 weekends.
Nothing to sniff at.
Not at all.
Absolutely brilliant that. But big credit to them, and like you say, they're making a real sort of team there despite the numbers and the issues they're having, so fair play to them. Next game is Hull Seahawks hosting the Leeds Knights, and Hull Seahawks taking it 3-2 as we've already covered, so a big home win there where we maybe started a bit sluggish, but we soon recovered, and 4-point weekend for us.
Yeah, massive.
Next game, Peterborough Phantoms hosting the Basingstoke Bison, and the Basingstoke Bison winning it 4-3 in a shootout.
Wow.
Again, similar to my previous comment about Solway and Romford, I think this is more to Bison's credit than it is to Peterborough's detriment. They've just taken the game, haven't they? Obviously shootout, so both teams pick up a point, and anyone's game, but you've got to be in it to win it.
Absolutely, and Basingstoke just seems to love these 4-point weekends at the minute, and it's a madness. But like you say, Peterborough maybe just need to look at themselves a little bit. We say about how hard it is to play at Peterborough, but Bison have gone there and still come out with the 2nd point regardless.
If these was league and cup games, Peterborough would be really disappointed with this one, because they have ones to catch up in the league. So be interesting to see how that's affected the cup table that as well. Yeah,
absolutely. The final game, Swindon Wildcats hosted the Milton Keynes Lightning, so probably the sort of biggest game of the Sunday, but Swindon taking it 4-2. So MK getting that good win on the Saturday, but then couldn't quite follow it up on the Sunday. But would you expect anything less against the massively informed Swindon?
No. I think this does what it says on the tin at the moment. If you was talking about this fixture last year, you might have had a different take on it, but certainly the story's been writing itself for Swindon, and NK had a mountain to climb going into the link for this, and yeah, fair play to Swindon. They just do what they do, don't they?
I think if anybody can go to the link and get even a point at this point in the season, I think you're happy, aren't you? Because like you say, I think a lot of teams walk in there now and they already know they're up against it, not coming away with anything. Yeah, massive that. Well, if that's the case, we'll finish up with the fixtures then. We'll go into the standings and see what the tables look like.
Very interesting movement, boys.
So yeah, I'll take the league then if you want. As well as you swig your drink.
Yeah.
So in first place we've got Swindon Wildcats. They've played 18 and are on 30 points. Leeds Knights in second, 18 played, 25 points. Sheffield Steel Dogs third, 19 played, 25 points. Telford Tigers in fourth, 18 played, 21 points. Milton Keynes Lightning in fifth place, 18 played, 20 points. Hull Seahawks in sixth, 18 played, 19 points. Peterborough Phantoms in 7th, 18 played and 18 points. Romford Raiders in 8th, 18 played, 16 points. Bristol Pitbulls in 9th, 18 played, 13 points. Solway Sharks in 10th, 17 played, 13 points. Basingstoke Bison in 11th, 12 played, 12 points.
So yeah, as you mentioned there at the beginning, Rossy, there were some big changes here, some gaps. I'm sure Swindon are massively happy with that 5 point swing in their favour there, which is best part of 3 games. So it means they can have a little fall off if they want to. I can't see it. I think they're going to keep riding this wave of victories as they are. Leeds moving into that second place and sort of holding it for another week or so is massive for them, despite getting beat by the Seahawks. Sheffield, obviously, they can move quite clear in that second position if they've got some points there, but that no point weekend just matches them quite nicely, but they play that game more than Leeds.
Yeah.
I want to touch on the Seahawks as well, who are now 2 points within fourth after a bit of a disastrous start to the season in terms of their away form. A massive credit to Matty and the boys for that one, and also Bristol looking... coming into this season, a lot of talk around Bristol and, got this elite league player and these imports, but if Solway and Basingstoke win their games in hand, Bristol are going to be plumb last, so...
I think it's worth noting when you say that, but look at Basingstoke, 1 point behind both Bristol and Sharks, but 5-6 games swing.
I know.
That is a madness, and this is what I'm saying about Basingstoke now, like, the fact that they're amongst it, but they've still got many a game to play, and they'll need, 2 points. Nah. It's in their favour.
If anything, I'd just be using this as a driving factor to go, okay, we've got these game in hands to make up. We can soon shoot from there to mid-table.
Wherever we want to be,
It's unbelievable, isn't it? Like, how tight it can be in these little groups at the bottom. Like you say, Peterborough sliding down a few places as well with their bit of a slumping, form. Seahawks moving up there. Milton Keynes getting one big win has kept them in front of Seahawks, otherwise it could have been Seahawks up there above them, but it's starting to tell a little bit. We're getting little groups again now, and it's definitely going to be interesting as we push towards this winter period. As you mentioned about the long travelling Romford and Solway. I'm not being funny now, but when it's slinging it down outside and it's like 1 degree or something, you don't want to be doing travel on a bus, do you? So, that's everything that's needs thinking about when we start thinking of these predictions going forward. It's travel as much as just the form.
Yeah.
So we'll have a look at the Cup standings then. This has changed as well. So, first place in the Cup, Milton Keynes Lightning, 10 played, 13 points. Second is Sheffield Steel Dogs, 8 played, 12 points. Third played Swindon Wildcats, 8 played, 12 points. Fourth is the Hull Seahawks, 10 played, 11 points. Fifth is Telford Tigers, 10 played, 11 points. Leeds Knights in 6th, 8 played, 10 points. Peterborough Phantoms in 7th, 7 played, 9 points. 8th place is Bristol Pitbulls with 9 played, 9 points. Romford Raiders in 9th, 8 played, 8 points. Solway 10th, 8 played, 7 points. And 11th Basingstoke Bison, 6 played, 2 points.
Looking interesting.
Yeah, it
Seahawks
is.
Again moved up the table as well into that fourth spot, which seemed a bit far-fetched in it at one point. That's what's probably surprised me the most out of this.
Yeah, as me as well. If everybody just finished up now, then we'd be in.
If fixtures go our way, we could be in the Cup, boys, and how mad of a statement is that? Obviously, you've got to look at Peterborough. They've only played 7 games and they only need 2 points to be level with us. But weirder things have happened, boys. We've got to keep that fair.
Cup in it, yeah.
Yeah, like you say, there's some of those teams that have played 8 are Sheffield and Swindon, so you'd imagine they've then got to play somebody like Leeds or somebody in there, so they're going to cancel each other out with some of those results. But then you've got Basingstoke, who've only played 6, they've got 4 games, and the way they're playing at the minute, they could take a few scalps.
Yeah.
I know it'd be a miracle, but Seahawks could be in there.
Imagine.
I know we've got no more games to play, that is us as it is, 11 points, but it could happen.
Yeah,
it could happen.
Weirder things have happened.
Well, it'd be some turnaround, wouldn't it, if we managed to qualify for that? But it's one of them.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll leave it there then, fellas. That's the fixtures, results, and tables from this past week, and now we'll look at our team of the week. So now we're going to look at our team of the week for this week. As we mentioned in the results section, obviously a few teams have got their 4-point weekends. That's probably going to reflect in this quite a lot. We'll jump straight in. Our netminder, Max Wright of the Basingstoke Bison. Another 4-point weekend, as we've mentioned, for the Bison. Save percentage of 96.25. And a shutout against Sheffield. This guy just seems to get better and better every week. Coming from the Bees, where he had some great performances. I think the Bison did right picking him up and keeping him sort of with some of the lads he knew. Yeah. And he's just showing it every week now that he's going to win them games.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Okay, so our first defenceman in team of the week this week is Solway Sharks, Jake Bolton. Bolt's obviously he's had some time off. He's they've just said hello to their new baby, so congratulations, Bolts and family. But he's back in the lineup this weekend, and he's straight back at it, providing 2 assists for the first Solway goal, and the one that took him into overtime as well. And then on Sunday, they travelled to Romford with 5 defencemen, and he chipped in with 3 assists to help the Sharks to a 6-4 victory on the road as well. So 3-point weekend for them. Solid performance from Bolts there, and I'm sure the team was glad to have him back in the lineup.
Yeah, he's making a bit of a difference, and he's chipping in real nicely and becoming one of those leader figures. We knew he had that about him after we talked to him. You could tell he wanted a bit of that on him. He could take that on and push the guys around him on to winning, which straight away you can see by his numbers there and his energy.
100% well done, Bolts. Our next defenceman, also a friend of the pod. And I think it's only fair that we include a Swindon defenceman this weekend after their 4-point weekend, and that one is Ryan Wells. So again, another defensively solid weekend from the Cats. 3 goals conceded all weekend against Bristol and MK, and that's home and away. Chipped in 2 assists away from home against Bristol on Friday night, and he scored the 3rd goal for Swindon to put them 3-1 up against MK at home on Sunday. So a 4-point weekend, and more importantly, boys, putting them 5 points ahead of Leeds at the top of the table. It's nothing to wince about.
No, absolutely not. We've mentioned this guy a lot. He's always there doing his bit for the team. Goals and assists is part of what he wants to add to his game more and more, and he's certainly throwing them in there, and you can't knock it against, big teams and hard teams. He's always there to be counted.
Definitely.
So our first forward then is going to be Solway Sharks, and it is Duncan Spears. Big 3-point weekend, as we mentioned, with Bolts as well. Spears was in the thick of it most of the weekend. On Saturday, contributed 2 assists in their 5-4 overtime loss against Bristol. But on the Sunday, when they were short bench, he scored a hat-trick, which is some feat in itself, isn't it, really? And they was on the road with only 14 skaters. So, Duncan, with his time, I believe, at Peterborough.
He was last season.
And obviously his time in Sheffield as well. Bringing in that sort of know-how, played for good teams, and he's showing it there. Big hat-trick is good for him there. I really like that.
Yeah, you need them players, don't you, when the odds are stacked against you, to step up and take the games by the scruff of the neck and show up. And he's obviously taken the weight there and gone and done that between him and Bolts. So fair play to them.
Yeah.
So moving on to our next forward in team of the week, it's Hull Seahawk, and it is Bobby Chamberlain. It was really hard to keep Bobby out of this week, so fair play. Really glad to see him in it. He's been picking up points here, there, and everywhere, but also we know he's been playing injured as well. He had a man of the match performance on Sunday, and obviously scoring a very, very important goal for us, turning the game on its head as well with his fight with Sam Cooper, and he also scored on Saturday against Telford in a big win. So, 4-point weekend. We've talked about Bobby a lot, and he is the epitome of what this team needs to be, and he's shown that this weekend. He's really led by example, and I don't think anybody who just watches this and doesn't see it in person really knows the extent of what Bobby means to us. So fair play, he's put in massive performance this weekend, and he's got us back on the rails.
Yeah.
So finally wrapping up our team of the week, we've got a Leeds night this week, which might raise some eyebrows, but this person definitely had a man of the match performance on Saturday, and that is Ollie Endicott. So Ollie scored 2 and assisted 3 for 5 points in a 6-2 win against the Phantoms, who are no pushovers in themselves, especially with Levine in goal, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen the goal that Ollie scored where he pips it right through his legs. And
goes 5-0 and embarrasses Levine a bit.
Who is, let's be fair, one of the best netminders in the league.
Yeah.
Obviously there was a tough game in Hull on the Sunday night, so nothing in terms of points there, but he was ever present in the Leeds team, moving up and down the lines, trying to get them going. And I don't think that he'll be disappointed with his performance on Saturday, so that's where we've sort of based our inclusion there, isn't it, boys?
Yeah. Anybody who can put up a 5-point night needs to be in there, really.
Yeah.
Especially when it's across the board like that, scoring and assisting. It's a complete performance in it, really.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's much more than that. And
100%.
He's somebody who, when the bell is rung, he's there to answer it as well, isn't he? So he's a complete player, really. It's really good to see him when he plays.
Yeah.
Should we throw in a couple of honourable mentions?
Yeah.
So a couple of honourable mentions from this week. The first one going to Solway again, and it's for Carter Hamill. Somebody again who just seems to be putting in the energy and effort every week for Solway and carrying them forward. Got 2 assists on the Saturday when he was in there, and then a further 3 assists on the Sunday. So he also got a 5-point weekend, which is pretty mega, isn't it? Really?
It seems pretty harsh to leave him out, doesn't it? But Carter's another one of those players we just spoke about, like Ollie, and he'll do it every side of the game. I think he'll pride himself for his attacking sort of sense, and his move from MK was to definitely do that, to get more minutes and do that. But yeah, he'll do every side of the game for Solway, and that's exactly the kind of player that somebody they need. So fair play to him.
Want to do the next one?
Yeah, sorry, and Zach Milton. So he scored the game-winning goal for the Bison on Saturday in that 1-0 win. And he also scored the first goal against the Phantoms to help towards Bison's 4-point weekend. So I think that was worth a mention. Zach Shankar as well for the Bison had a really good weekend. Obviously part of that decor who shut Sheffield out, and I'm sure he was involved on the Sunday too. That's just one that's just popped into my head. But there's plenty of players for that Bison team that you could include, and as well as Swindon and Hull and many teams this weekend. There's been a lot of good performances, haven't there? But
absolutely,
I think these guys have just picked the rest.
Yeah. Okay, well that wraps up our team of the week for this week. So now it's that time of the week where we like to look at the upcoming fixtures for the following weekend and see how we can predict them coming up. But before that, we'll obviously hand over to you, Rossy, so you can give us the scores on the doors from this past week.
Yeah, boys. So first thing I need to do is apologise to everybody, and I need to apologise to you as well, Brad, because last week I said that you guys was drawing on 56 points, which wasn't quite the case. Who knew that someone who works in a school can't do basic maths? So sorry about that, fellas.
Mathing, is it?
So actually, the actual table as it stood was Rossy was in the lead with 57, closely followed by Azza on 56, and Brad was on 55. So again, 2 points separating the whole pack. So coming into this week, boys, I think last night at hockey it was fair to say that none of us was really hopeful, was when we was all kind of saying like, I don't even think there's any that I've got right or anything like that. But boys, you'll be happy to know that out of 11 games this weekend, one of us scored 6, one of us scored 7, and one of us scored 8.
Wow.
Ooh.
So
nice.
not
Didn't expect that.
not a bad do. So we'll start with the person who received 6 points this week, and with no perfect scores but 6 correct results was Brad's.
Bradler.
So 6 points for Brad. Okay. So these two, so the 8 points had 5 results correct, an additional one which was a perfect score. So 1 goal either way, and they'd have been down to 6, and the person who got 7 would have won it. The person who guessed 7, who got 7 points, guessed just 7 correct results. So the winner, so we have a singular winner this week. The winner of this week, boys, was Rossy.
Oh.
Okay, so I guessed the MK and Romford game 5-2, luckily, I think, boys. So again, that puts us pretty close. There's only 4 points top to bottom. So currently, as it stands, we've got me in top place with 65 points, Azza in second with 63, and Brad with 61. So boys, nothing to wince about, I don't think.
Yeah. Nice and close.
Yeah, definitely. We might have to start getting an adjudicator in though. I'm not quite trusting his maths.
There you are.
Don't be bitter, boys. Be better.
No, well done, matey. Done well there, and to guess the right result as well is.
I think, yeah, I think
do.
if I had had that, like I said, as you'd have won. So yeah, it was a tricky week this week as well. So I think we've done well, boys, to get as many points as we did, to be honest.
Yeah.
So nothing to wince about.
Well, with that said then, fellas, let's look up to what's coming up in the next weekend and see if we can get any predictions right. First of all, Friday, 21st of November, Sheffield Steel Dogs host the Hull Seahawks.
Yeah, this could be an interesting fixture. Obviously, different to the first time we played them at Sheffield. I'll go first if you want.
Yeah.
I'm going to back Hull for this one. I'm going to go for a 3-1.
Okay. Rossy?
Do you want me to go first? Tricky one, this. On one hand, Sheffield have done the double honours this season already. However, and I think that there'll be an added bit of motivation this week for them to get back to it after a 0 point weekend. Yeah. However, last 2 weekends, Hull have gone and beat MK and Telford away. Both really hard places to go. So I am also going to back Hull Seahawks. I'm going to back them to win 5-3.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Literally, yeah. So.
Just
yeah, I'm just going to stick with the same. I'm also going to go for Hull Seahawks for exactly the same points you've mentioned there. There was a part of me thinking Sheffield at home, but just because they've had a bit of a bad weekend, it sort of has swayed me more towards Seahawks. So 5-3 Seahawks for me there.
Nice.
So moving on to the Saturday games, 22nd of November, Swindon Wildcats host the Leeds Knights. First versus second, that 5-point gap which could be extended to 7 after this game. So it's at the Link. What are we thinking?
Yeah, there's a real must-win for Leeds in this game, to be honest, to try and keep getting them points back from Swindon. So I think they're going to have quite a lot on the line for this, and the lads know how much is at stake this weekend coming. So difficult one to call. I'm gonna back Swindon on it. I think it'll be a 4-3 victory, Swindon.
I like the sound of that as well. I'm going to also back Swindon. I'm going to back them 3-1 because, again, I don't think they're being really flashy with goals for fun, but they're really solid at home. They know how to defend their own pad. And also, I think Leeds are lacking a little bit in terms of numbers and in terms of firepower. So, I mean, kudos to them to be the first team to go to Swindon and pick up 2 points this season. If nobody else has, I don't think anybody else has as of yet. But yeah, I just think Swindon is a bit of a dead set on this one.
Yeah.
Maybe not a dead set, but
I'm also going to go with the Wildcats as well. I'm going to go for a 4-2, and the main thing that stuck with me is obviously Leeds are a bit hurt at the minute. They're a bit fatigued, struggling a little bit, and I think that's why Swindon will pick this up, especially at their own gap. So 4-2. Next game is based in Stoke Bison hosting the Telford Tigers. So tough one to call, really. You know, that Bison homestead is in real good fortress mode at the minute, and nobody seems to be able to go there and take anything off them. So
but then Telford have gone away to Sheffield and won this weekend, so I don't think it'll be as easy. I'm going to jump in and I'm going to back the Bison. I think that the train's rolling, and I think again they just know how to defend their own rink. I'm going to back the Basingstoke Bison 4-2 to win.
I'm going to go Telford Tigers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go 5-3.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm going to go Bison. I'm going to go 5-3 Bison.
Nice.
Interesting that's the first one where we sort of differ in opinion.
Yeah. I think if you'd have gone Bison, I'd have probably flipped it to try and get some points, but
yeah.
The next game, Bristol Pitbulls hosting the Peterborough Phantoms.
This is a really interesting game, this, because both teams are sort of wobbling a little bit, aren't they?
Yeah.
So you don't know what Peterborough's going to turn up as well, which might sway towards Bristol.
I'll
I'll be
go
reserved on this one, yeah.
I'm going to go for Peterborough Phantoms 3-2.
Ooh.
I think it's going to be a close game, really close, but I think Peterborough are going to just nick it.
you go.
Do you want me to? So you can choose who's starting on. you know what I was going to do.
Figured it out.
All right, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for Bristol to win this one. I'm finding it really hard to back Peterborough, which sounds ridiculous just because of the personnel that they've got in the team. But I just think their form's really wobbly at the moment. This might be the game that they switch it round, but I think Bristol will. They put up a good fight against Swindon in their own pad last week, actually. So I'll back Pitbulls and I'll back them 5-3 to win.
I'm going to back Peterborough. So I just think they're going to have to bounce back at some point, and what better way to do it when you're sort of dropping down the table. It's a big motivator in it for any team. So I'm going to go Peterborough Phantoms 3-2.
Nice.
Interesting. So, same as me then.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Definitely mine. Next game, Milton Keynes Lightning hosting the Solway Sharks. So this one could be tough again, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'll take this one first if you want.
Yeah.
I'm going to go MK at home for a big win. I think this will be a 5-2 victory for them. I just think if Solway's struggling with bodies and with the 5 imports at MK's disposal, might just be a little bit much for them this one, especially again being a home game and them having to sort of bounce back and show what they're about. Every game's a must win for them now.
Yeah.
So yeah, MK.
Side note in this game, I'd love to see a Spadder 4 Bolton fight, wouldn't you?
Oh, sauce.
Be tasty, that one.
Yeah, that would be.
Throwing it out there, boys.
I'm going to back MK as well. I'm going to go for a 4-2 win. I think it'll be a bit less than what you're saying, but close. I think there'll be a couple of goals in this, and I think it's going to go MK as well.
You know me, boys. I'm always backing Solway for a 4-point weekend, but I think this one might just be a little out of their reach, unfortunately. I hate to say it because I do like Solway. I'm also going to go similar to you, Brad, but I'm going to go 5-1 to MK.
Interesting. Final game of the Saturday, Sheffield Steel Dogs hosting the Romford Raiders.
Yeah, another double header again for Steel Dogs at home.
Yeah.
Sorry, double home game.
I'm going to go for Steel Dogs, and I'm going to go for 5-2.
Yeah, I'm also going to go Steel Dogs, but I'll go for a 4-2.
Interesting. I'm going to go for Sheffield. We'll clean sweep it, boys. I'm going to go 6-1.
Interesting.
Sheffield.
Got some big scores behind us this week.
Yeah.
So should be some right saucy games. So that moves us on to the Sunday, 23rd of November. And the first game is the Solway Sharks hosting the Hull Seahawks. As we mentioned off camera, Seahawks, no home game for this coming weekend, which will be interesting. But going to the Shark Tank, which is notoriously quite hard at the minute to go and get something from, so we want to take it.
Yeah, there is a real little bit of me that thinks Solway could pick up the points here just with us having, like you say, the double away game, and Dumfries isn't round the corner.
No.
There is a lot of travel for the lads, but I really think we seem to have found something now, and I'm going to back it. So I'm going to go Hull Seahawks 3-2.
I'm also going to go for Seahawks. I'm going to go for 4-1.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
As resounded as 4-1.
Yeah, I think, if their numbers are down, they've got a hard game against Milton Keynes on the Saturday night, and then they've got to travel back themselves. I don't know. Stick with the faith in the team, I think.
I'm going to back Solway for a point here, but I'm going to go 4-3 in overtime to Seahawks. I just think that they've just got a good way of like nicking those points, haven't they, Solway?
Yeah.
So I will go 4-3, but in my head I think it'll be in overtime, and I think we'll win.
Interesting. Romford Raiders hosting the Basingstoke Bison.
Interesting one this, because the Raiders at home can be good value, can't they?
Yeah, you don't really know what you're going to get with them though, do you?
No.
That's the thing, and I'm going to go Basingstoke on this one. So obviously we've talked about them having them sort of games in hand, and if they build momentum with those games in hand, how they can end up somewhere in the mid-table relatively easily. So I'm going to back it. Basingstoke Bison to take this 5-2.
I'm going to also follow you down Basingstoke way and say it's going to be a 3-2 win for the Bison.
See, I was going to, if you'd have gone Romford, I would have backed Basingstoke as well, and I wouldn't have backed them to the high heavens for goals. I don't think they're that kind of team at the moment. They're just very defensively solid. For a point then, I'm going to, for the record, I would have backed Basingstoke. But for a point, I'll go for Romford, and we'll go for a 4-2 win for Romford.
Interesting. Peterborough Phantoms hosting the Bristol Pitbulls.
Yeah, this could be an interesting fixture because obviously it's a double header, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going to back Peterborough for a 4-point weekend, and a bounce back. I'll go 3-2.
Interesting. I'm also going to back Peterborough for a 4-point weekend. I'm going to go for 5-3.
Nice. I'm also going to back Peterborough, and I think it'll be a 4-1 win at home.
Interesting. Right then, big tilt, first one of the Sunday. Leeds Knights hosting the Milton Keynes Lightning.
Leeds have got a rough weekend, haven't they? Especially when they're low numbers.
Yeah.
I do think that the fancy it against MK at home though, boys.
I agree. Oh God, this is a tough one to call. I'm going to go with my head on this and say Leeds Knights, and I'm going to say like 6-4. 6-4, yeah.
That'll be some game, that one, eh? I'm going to go in the same vein. I'm going to go Leeds Knights. I'm not going to go 6-4 there. I'll go 4-2.
That is literally exactly what I was going to go for, so I'm going to stick with that because I sort of saw it, that's what I was thinking. But Leeds Knights 4-2. I think it would be a 3-2, but I think that empty net at the end is going to come in clutch. Well. Yeah, so I'm also going to join you on 4-2 Leeds. And then the final game on the Sunday, and another massive tilt, Telford Tigers hosting the Swindon Wildcats.
Yeah.
What we thinking?
What did you call this before?
El Kitty Cat.
Yeah, well, if I remember rightly, Swindon took it on that night, and I'm going to go exactly the same way again here. I'm going to go for 5-2 Swindon.
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see Swindon putting a few more goals up for them.
Yeah.
I'll join you. I'll go 5-3 Swindon.
Okay.
He's gonna play.
I'm gonna do the opposite.
Why
Yeah,
not?
I'm gonna play the Wildcats.
The train's got to stop at some point, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'm gonna back Telford. My reason for backing Telford is I feel like they owe it to their fans after last Saturday.
Actually.
So I'm gonna have the faith that they'll give it to them. I don't really know what's going through camp at the minute, and I could be way off for what's actually happening, but I'll go Telford Tigers, an overtime win, 4-3.
Nice.
Like it. There's been wilder games, haven't there?
Yeah.
I think that's a good shout.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that sort of wraps us up then, fellas, for our predictions for this coming weekend, and that sort of finishes up for the episode this week. Before we sort of wrap up, I think we want to just mention we're having a bit of an order put together for our merchandise. Obviously, we're all sporting different bits and bobs.
Yeah.
Currently, we're hoping to try and get some stuff ordered by the coming weekend. Is it
this coming Sunday? Yeah.
Which is the 23rd. 23rd, yeah. I had to think then. I was thinking the weekend after, but yeah, 23rd. So by the time this episode drops, it'll be a couple of days really to get your orders in.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, please do try and jump on it. You know, there's some great bits on there. We're trying to make things as cost efficient as well. We've got a bit of a sale going on and stuff, haven't we? And guaranteed for Christmas as well.
If you do want to get involved with that, please message us directly on Instagram. We're going to be compiling the order, and then obviously once we've received the items, we'll send them out to you guys. Just because at this time of year, as we know from sending the hats out, it can take a long time to get there. So we're going to do that because we've been assured by Lammy if we do it that way, then obviously we're 100% going to get it before Christmas, which means you guys can as well and can fill your stockings up with this lovely merchandise.
Yeah. I think we'll commit to sending it out in the post before Christmas, but knowing what he's like.
Horrible.
I'm joking. Get involved. I'd say the only thing at the moment is hats currently not for sale.
Yeah, very exclusive bit of merchandise that. But let us know in the comments down below, would you want them to be available? And if so, obviously make it known. And that's something that we can sort of have a discussion about, boys, and maybe sort it out. We've got a bit of an exclusive club in the Slapshot Syndicate at the moment, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cringy that, I know, but we'll roll with it. But no.
He loves it.
He's shaking his head, but like, we are the Slapshot Syndicate off the camera. No, but like I say, there was more of a gesture to those who helped us out, weren't they, and stuff like that. So if you are interested, then by all means, let us know. Get in our DMs and. See what happens, boys.
Yeah, absolutely. The only other thing to say is thanks for watching as always, thanks for the support, and we'll see you on the next episode.